Well, thanks so much for joining us here on 13 News at Noon. I'm Karen Campbell here with meteorologist Sean Ash. And Sean, you just said that our temperatures are changing. So it is raining outside. I came to work this morning. It was raining, but the weather was okay.
Yeah, windy, and this is kind of an unusual setup. Normally, when we turn colder, the wind is west-northwest. This is actually a southwest wind.
Interesting.
So we're going to explain all this science of what's causing this here, Karen. Let's show you the numbers that are beginning to trim colder here. Not a surprise. We told you this was going to happen. You can see we've got 30s, in fact, on the map. Greencastle, Crawfordsville, 40 in Martinsville, still holding to near 50. Very wet, very windy. Newcastle, as well as Pendleton. We're now at 40 degrees here in downtown Indy, 42 at the airport. And you can see the 30s on the map, but Peru and Muncie are at 50 and 52 degrees. Here's this latest batch of rain that's pivoting through the state. Want to expand and show you the region. Springfield, Effingham, St. Louis with snow and 30s. It's 50 degrees in Chicago where the low is centered. Counterclockwise circulation around it. So that cold wind is coming down and then wrapping into the center of that storm. An intense storm it is. And so that's why we've got this southwest wind that's curving through the state and wrapping into that storm center. And wind gusts that are over 40 miles per hour in some locations. So wind advisory technically doesn't start in Indy until 5 p.m., but we're going to have gusts going the rest of the afternoon and into early tomorrow morning. 40 to 50 mile per hour gust. You tag that on to, at times, some snow burst. So we're going to have some low visibility, some slick spots later tonight, and the potential for some power outages and slow travel that we want you to be aware of. Quieter days ahead, Karen. We'll time that out in the long-range forecast in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Well, this afternoon, we are working to learn more on what led up to a shooting in Brownsburg. That shooting left 2 men dead. Police there say around 2:30 this morning. Officers heard gunshots near Acre Avenue, that's off Main Street, and Green Street. Now, once on the scene, they found 2 men dead. One of the men was found lying next to an SUV, which was partially in the road and grass. 13 News spoke with one man who lives nearby, who tells us he's never seen a crime like this in his neighborhood.
I mean, we moved away from Indianapolis just for this reason years ago. But, yeah, here it is. So, let's see what happens.
And right now we are working to learn the names of those 2 men who were found dead. Brownsburg police tell us they detained a person of interest at the scene. As we continue to follow this investigation, we will be sure to update you on air and online at WTHR.com.
I don't hate him. I just think it's sad is what I think.
Right now we are hearing from the woman who lost her eye after being hit by a stray bullet in a fit of road rage near her job. She testified in court as the man accused of pulling the trigger was found guilty. Now, this happened back in March of 2023. Investigators say Marquise Tipton fired 6 shots at an SUV near 71st and Keystone. One of those bullets came through the wall of the yellow house on the property of Sullivan Hardware and Garden. It hit cashier Susie Wharton in the face.
People think it's the worst thing in the world that could have happened to me, but I don't think so. I think dying would have been pretty bad, you know. So losing the eye, wish I had it, but I don't.
Now, the judge in this case found Tipton guilty of aggravated battery and criminal recklessness. He is set to be sentenced on April 29th. The family of 2 brothers who drowned while kayaking in the White River, well, they are now suing the city of Indianapolis. Attorneys for Marcus Robinson and Solomon Shirley filed a wrongful death lawsuit almost a year after that tragic accident. Our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick shares the details of the lawsuit and the changes family members say they want to see.
This is the dam witnesses say those 2 kayakers went over before disappearing last April. And now a new lawsuit is claiming the city is at fault, saying there should have been more warnings of this deadly hazard.
What started as a search and rescue sadly became a search and recovery mission last year.
crews combing every inch of the White River in boats, on foot, and from helicopters.
Anything goes over, you can go down and look now. The log's way bigger than the human body, just turning like in a washing machine.
About a week later, the bodies of 30-year-old Marcus Robinson and 22-year-old Solomon Shirley were recovered. Attorneys believe the two brothers drowned after kayaking over a low-head dam near Belmont Beach and 16th Street. In fact, a 17-year-old also died after his canoe went over the dam in 2021. In the 8-page lawsuit, attorneys claim the city received numerous requests to remove the dam, modify it, or at least put more signs upstream. But according to attorneys, those requests went ignored, citing only one sign on the 16th Street Bridge that reads "Rapids Ahead." Last year, 13 News also got video of another sign near the dam saying "Exit Now." This one was installed by Friends of the White River just months before the two brothers died. Shortly after the accident, Indy DPW also announced funding to remove the dam. But so far, a timeline has not been set. And we also reached out to the city about this new lawsuit. The Office of Corporation Counsel told us they will not be commenting on pending litigation. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
Well, now to an update nearly 2 months after a man was found shot and killed. The Marion County coroner now ruling that death as a homicide. We know officers say they found Lowell Quinnett and Deborah Russell shot to death in a house near 21st and Emerson at the beginning of January. Now, they just determined Quinnett's death is a homicide. The coroner ruled that Russell's death was a homicide shortly after the shooting. Neighbors called police to do a welfare check after noticing something out of the ordinary happening at that house. Well, a former Marion County constable is back in court months after pleading guilty to misconduct and gun charges. Former Center Township Constable Denise Hatch tells us she's looking to vacate her felony charge for official misconduct. Hatch pleaded guilty to the charges last October, but she now says she's looking to reverse her plea. A Marion County judge denied a previous request by Hatch to overturn the plea agreement last year. Hatch agreed to plead guilty to several of the charges, including felony official misconduct. She has another hearing later this month. Well, yesterday, Governor Mike Braun signed 2 new executive orders directed at transgender Hoosiers. The first bans transgender women and girls from participating in women's sports at Indiana schools. The second says there are only 2 genders, male and female. The governor calls the orders, quote, common sense. Opponents say they target vulnerable people. Until now, trans Hoosiers have been able to change their birth certificates with a court order. They won't be required to revert to their original birth certificate. The same with driver's license. Now, however, people with an X designation on their license, meaning neither male or female, won't be allowed to renew without that marker. And lawmakers are also considering changes to the state's encroachment law. This was passed 2 years ago. It created a 25-foot buffer zone around police while they're working, but it faced 2 lawsuits. One of them brought by members of a media coalition, including WTHR's parent company. There is an injunction against the law, meaning it is not being enforced. House Bill 1122 aims to add clarity to that law. It adds language saying an officer can ask someone to back up if they believe the person's presence interferes with an officer's ability to do their job. The bill passed out of committee and heads to the full Senate, where other changes can be proposed. All right, a heads up for drivers on the city's north side. Those speed cameras are now patrolling traffic in the area. You may have seen them. Now, this is along 465 and 69, also known as the Clear Path Project. The goal here is to keep construction workers safe and drivers, according to NDOT. Now, they tell us thousands of drivers have already started receiving courtesy notices in the mail. It shows their vehicle, date, time and location of the violation, and their speed. Now get this, in January, more than 28,000 of these courtesy notices were sent to drivers traveling 11 miles per hour or more over the posted 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. NDOT expects official enforcement to begin this spring. Now, that means that the first violation will only be a warning but your second violation will cost you $75. And if you get any more, 3 or more, that will cost you $150. We'll let you know when it starts. And the warmer weather, it's good news for DPW because it allows crews to tackle thousands of potholes across the city. DPW is using hot mix to fill those holes, and they say it provides longer lasting treatment on the roads. Earlier this year, the department reported more than 4,000 potholes across the city, and they need your help to keep up with the issue. So if you see a pothole, you can report it through the Mayor's Action Center. We've put a link on how you can do that on WTHR.com.